In the year 1932, there was a very cold winter, and on January 26th, it was next to the coldest day of the year. On that day, a son was born to Mr. and Mrs. J. Fred Ostrum, and that was me, Ken Ostrum. The problem of heat confronted them at this time because the building was not of the finest and only a small coal stove was used to heat it. My Aunt Belle Ostrum tried to keep me warm in blankets, and it was that way that I got my first sleep. Aunt Alice Ostrum drew me up to the stove in an armchair, wrapped in several blankets, with the legs, or rockers, blocked with wood so I wouldn't roll out. Well, this small boy happened to be a boy who was later named Kenneth Lee. That's me. I was treated in a different manner from the other 4 boys and 2 girls of the family. I might have been slightly spoiled because of this. The rest called me baby, even after several years old. And I really deserved it because anything that I wanted, I thought I should have, and I cried for it if I didn't get it right away. I slept so long, they were afraid I wouldn't wake up. Of course, that was rugged way because I was a descendant of one of the best farmers of the county who had hewn a wonderful farm from the forests of Bryan Hill. My mischievousness sometimes turned to meanness. One such incident when my sister's boyfriend came to visit her. I was about 3 years old at the time, and as a man came up the steps, for some reason, I hit him on the forehead with a wooden hammer. There were several other incidents like this as I grew up, and many whippings did not seem to change my ways. I grew up in the tough neighborhood of West Creek and lived there all my life. The mountains always seemed to fascinate me, and I wandered over them very often, chasing rabbits and woodchucks. 5 years after my birth, I tried to enter school, but I was refused because they thought I was too young, even though I would be 6 in January. So it wasn't until the next year that I got the thrill of my life entering school at Plank Road Hollow. My teachers there seemed to treat me all right, and for some unknown reason, I actually changed my ways because I never even had a whipping or even a hand slapped with a ruler. One thing though, I did have my hair pulled while in the 1st grade, and it wasn't by a student either. Outside of schools, things turned again, and I became my own rascally self. I didn't seem to think human beings had any feelings because I almost enjoyed hurting them when I got a chance. At about 8 years of age, I still retained the habit of throwing stones when my anger flared up. And this is the one thing my next older brother wished that I would not do. So it happened that one day, I became provoked at Sam for some reason and started chasing him, even though Sam was 4 years older than me, and I started throwing stones at him. One sharp-edged stone caught him in the forehead just as he turned around and put a large gash in his head. That stopped me completely from throwing stones at people. Then as I became older, my mother thought this change in habits was fascinating because I became bashful among strange people. I dropped many of my mean habits and started reading more and staying around the house. At first, my readings included only fairy tales, but then my field expanded and I started reading things the teachers would tell me about. I always enjoyed school, except near the end of the term, and then I got tired of it. My mother always thought that my marks were satisfactory, especially compared to those of 2 of my brothers. When I was about 8 years of age, my oldest brother, Melvin, decided to travel. So he and a friend hitchhiked to California with only a few dollars between them. That was one of the first instances that I knew of loneliness and longing for one of my brothers. My brother returned at the birth when I first noticed a nephew to my older sister, Rose, and I was really proud that he was an uncle. Then the war came in December 1941, and in February of 42, Melvin enlisted in the Army. I was so proud to have a brother in the Army, and some surprising stories could be thought up in my mind as to what Elvin was doing. In the spring of '43, another brother, Bob, left for the Army Air Corps. Now what was I going to do? I only had 2 brothers left at home, and all I did was play soldier and keep asking my parents why I couldn't join the Army. It was because I was too young, and one thing I was sure of, as were my other 2 brothers, Sam and Keith, there I was wrong, because before long Keith was 18 and drafted in the fall of 1943, and then came the final blow. 17-year-old Sam enlisted in the Navy in 1944. That was all I could take. I decided to join the service. So I signed up and was accepted. Now, no one could say I wasn't in the service because I was a full-fledged Boy Scout in Troop 51 of Emporium. I seemed to be doing things okay in school during the elementary grades, and then I entered high school. Once again, something happened to me. My grades started to drop, and I didn't seem to study enough even though I had more time now. I met more friends, started to notice the girls even though I had never noticed them before. So I went through a few mishaps and entered the second year of high school as a big sophomore in senior high school. In this year, the only thing of any importance was a Latin play in which I appeared. I tried to join the football team, but Dad said if I did, he would take me out of school. I was allowed to play basketball, but chores at home kept me from doing this. In the junior year, I became more friendly with the teachers and sometimes too smart for my own good. One of the best things of the junior year was a junior class play, Home Sweet Homicide. It was an enjoyment to go to practice and watch the actors do their parts. When the play was over, the class found out, as they had known all along, it was the best play ever put on in the school. One day when I entered American Literature class, I was told to write an autobiography. That was too much for me, so I asked for help. I wrote the essay. Nobody else was involved. I put down a few of my experiences, but I am no writer. Not too much of a story is told. Only enough is told to say that my biography is written. I hope whatever I take up after school is as successful as the first 17 years, which definitely were the hardest. This is not the end, but just the beginning. I was able to follow in my brother's footsteps and served in the U.S. Army in KMAG, Korean Military Advisory Group, during the Korean War in 1953 to 54. And published for my 89th birthday, date January 26, 2021, and I still live in Emporium, in the exact house where this picture was taken that was in the book.